Red Shoe Squad.
Today's theme, punching. You guys really enjoyed the video that we put up talking about kind of different ways to approach flipping, especially as the grass comes up. Well, the grass is coming up. So I'm gonna show you what I think are some specialized things. These are variations on a theme. We're gonna get in depth in the technique. So if you guys don't like, I don't know, like expert-y kind of, I don't even call it expert because I'm no expert, no #pro. If you don't like in-depth technique breakdowns, you're not gonna like this, so hit the dislike and run off. But if you guys really want to know like in-depth punching techniques, what you're looking for, how to approach fish as this grass gets tall, gets thick, and these fish tuck under it during these summer hot days, stick with the video because you're gonna enjoy it. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button right down there, and let's dive in. So what kind of setups do we have today for punching, flipping, pitching, whatever you want to call it? I got 3, and these are grass-oriented setups right here. Get my red shoes in the video. So I got a classic setup. That's a 711 Halo Heavy. It's the TI, 1.5 Hogtech tungsten weight, Hack Attack 4/0, and then I got a Gambler Stinger on there. That's 80-pound Samurai braid. The other one that's kind of very comparable but slightly different, exact same rod, exact same reel, same line, same weight, but I got a punch skirt and a BB cricket on there just to do something different. Also, I mean, you do break off in situations, so I want to have a backup. The other thing is too, is I might go down to 1/4 depending on how thick stuff is, and that's the rod I'll have set up to put a 1 1/4 on. The last setup is this guy right here, and this is one that I'm experimenting with. This is a 7.6 XD3 Pro. That's a 3/4 ounce tungsten Hogtech. I got double bobber stoppers. You'll notice the big difference here is I have an offset shank hook. That's an owner wide gap plus 5/0. There's a 5.25 stinger on there, and then the big difference, 20-pound fluorocarbon. That's kind of my open water setup for pitching kind of isolated little domes, basically for pitching around stuff, if you want to simplify it. The braid stuff is for going deep in, you know, balls to the wall, full send. The fluorocarbon is for more like a glide style bait around the edges, around strands, around clumps. That's a big one. Dude, he crunched it. Get in here. Dude, can you say on him? Chill. Dude. So we did something, we're expanding on this flipping bite, and you can see I got a super stinger. It's basically like a 5-inch beaver style or creature bait. Dude, I felt my line jump like 5 feet. Wow. My line jumped. I don't know how high, but that thing crushed it right as it was about to reach the bottom. I want to get this fish released though. It's pretty warm, and I'm going to tell you about the technique we're using because I think it's something super, look at that thing. I mean, dude, big. I think it's something kind of sneaky. And dude, and the water's so clear. Off you go. It's something kind of sneaky, and it ain't gonna last. It's a very transitional bite, and it's fun. So any of you guys that watch the video know I love to punch, and I've been on a pretty good punching bite. We did kind of a punching breakdown, and just got into it. But one thing that I want to do with the videos is get more in depth. I think a lot of the guys that you might follow on YouTube, they'll tease something, sell you something, but they don't really go in depth to really explain the pattern and highlight the pattern. And it's because I don't think they want to be perfectly honest. A lot of these pro guys that are on YouTube now, you go back 5-6 years, they weren't on YouTube. They were laughing at us guys who were doing YouTube because they didn't see any value, but now they see dollar signs. But enough tagging people. What we're doing is we're going to be flipping probably 3 or 4 different setups today, 2 with braid and 1 with fluorocarbon, and we're going to target submerged grass. So grass, let me just show you, it's probably the easiest way. It's right under the surface. You can see there's hydrilla stalks and clumps all mixed in with like eelgrass and stuff like that. So these fish are kind of near the edge. We always talk about fishing grass lines and stuff. Well, you don't always have to see the grass line to fish it or to flip it even, and that's kind of the crazy part. So I'm going to show you the braid setups in a bit, but what we caught a freaking monster off of is this guy right here. This is the Super Stinger. It's a big bait. It's 5 1/4 inches. I have it on a 3/4 ounce Hog Tech weight, double bobber stoppers. Big key here though is 20-pound or 25-pound fluorocarbon. I'm pretty sure this is 20-pound fluorocarbon. Got it on a 7.6 heavy, not extra heavy, 7.6 heavy. This is the XD3 Pro. High speed Greeny Meanie 721. But all we're doing is, it's very visual fishing. We're looking for stalks. We're looking for little hydrilla clumps that are below the surface, anywhere from 6 inches to like 2 feet. And we're pitching to those clumps. And basically, it's all about a fall. Like, this bait is just going down. Its big old kickers are going. And as it gets to the bottom, the majority of the bites that I'm getting are like within 2 or 3 foot of the bottom. We're in anywhere from 6 to 9 feet, depending. And literally, your line will just go. There's brim everywhere. And I guarantee you, these guys are seeing this thing and thinking, oh, what a nice little panfish to eat. But it's a reaction bite. There's not much pumping. There's a little bit of, popping the bait up every once in a while. But it's a reaction bite. You're pitching in. You're targeting these isolated clumps, almost like what we do in Florida, where we target like isolated reed clumps and stuff like that. But the bite is fun, dude. Like, the bite is hold on and reel down when you set the hook. But we're going to expand on this a little bit today. This is fun. It on the way down. Not as big, but chunky little guy. And it's a pretty big bait. Well, it's like a, I don't know, 2-pounder. Ate a pretty big one. Another one on the stinger. Kind of get into sections of them, and then you gotta slow way down. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but do you hear that out there? So that's like brim, like popping at the surface, eating bugs or minnows or something like that. And that's a signal that you're on a mat that's active. Maybe there aren't any bass in it, who knows? But at least there's bait in it and the bait's moving around doing stuff. And that's usually a good sign. I'll actually leave them at if I don't hear it or see it moving around and doing stuff. And this is definitely active. So we're gonna make a little move here. Sorry if the motor's loud, but we've been fishing like this little hydrilla stretch. And to be honest with you, like what I told you guys about like the kissing sound and that, I'm not hearing anything, and it's definitely shut down to an extent. And flipping, pitching, punching, whatever you want to call it, I know you guys are going to give me hell about it, is all about stretches and running stretches. It's about making drops and sort of statistics. The number of drops you make, the more likely you are to catch a fish. And especially this early kind of summer deal, these fish are pretty reactive. You don't have to kind of dangle dick them too much. You don't gotta pop the bait up and finesse them out as much. If they're there and you drop that bait in front of their face or near that face, they're gonna eat it. So we're gonna kind of run some more stretches, try to keep our numbers up when it comes to drops, and see if we can't catch one more good one. There you go, that's a little better one. Kind of switched spots a little bit and went to the main lake and started finding hydrilla. I started finding bass. That's a big one, I think. Better one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, they are on this pond. punching bite. So we kind of shifted. I'm gonna let her go real quick. That's a nice 3.5 pounder right there. You can see how clear the water is. We're super shallow. We're in like 2 feet of water, but I noticed there's a nice roll to the mats right here. And I started seeing a bunch of brim. We fished the outside, didn't see anything, caught one little one, pushed on in. I'm seeing brim everywhere. There's all these little like clumps you see, like real isolated clumps, which we've talked about before. And it looks really good, and that right there seals it up. So let's do a little mat breakdown. I got my BB Cricket. I kind of downsized, the bite slowed down a little bit. So I went down to the BB Cricket. This is basically my go-to whenever it gets tough. But we got sort of an emergent mat. There's one underwater. So let's start with those. So this is an example of something that's slightly underwater. I'll almost pitch it just like I do a regular mat. The biggest difference is when it gets to the bottom, I might pop it a couple times, but those mats that are still underwater, they're kind of strandy, so your bait tends to hang on it. So the big difference is, so I'll pitch this floating or this canopied kind of hydrilla right here. And so it's open on the bottom, so I can actually pump that bait up and pop it a few times and maybe dangle dick it under the mat. So that's the biggest difference between isolated kind of strand underwater submergent stuff and this floating stuff. But basically, I try to focus on a couple things. Corners, big kind of like circles, like the middle of it, and points, you know, like it's pretty straightforward. I just pitch the point right there. I'll let my bait go all the way to the bottom. I'll kind of feel if I got a bite on the drop, and I'll pop it up to the top, let it dangle, nothing. I will also key in on, you can see there's some chop grass in the middle of this hydrilla. So usually that kills the grass under it and creates like a little hole. So I'll pop through there, put it to the top. It's pretty much like what you would do if you were normal fishing, like a worm or like some kind of structure, but you just have the grass to get through. So you focus on the exact same things. The other thing too, my power poles are down. I will try to be as quiet as possible, even if I'm doing the strands and the submergent stuff. For some reason, these fish, we're not even that shallow. I think we're in like 3 or 4 feet of water, and a lot of this is in like 6 or 7 feet of water, so it's pretty deep. For some reason, these grass fish, they get weird to the trolling motor. I don't know, I think it might scare the brim and stuff, and then the bass kind of get on edge. But it's something, the quieter you are, the bigger bites you'll get usually, or your chance at getting a big bite is a lot higher when you're quiet. So I try to sneak around, use those power poles, and use the wind too. And I try to keep my trolley on pretty low and not turn it too much. If you guys got the electronic steer trolling motors like the Ghost or that Minn Kota Ultrex, they make a lot of noise when they turn. So I try to just kind of give myself a little bit of momentum, push in the direction I want to go, and then continue on flipping. But being sneaky, targeting your classic points, corners, and then kind of putting one right in the middle just to keep them honest, it's pretty straightforward and it's fun. Fish, let's stay out of there. That's a good one. Get in here. On the pump, that's interesting. I switched over to a why not, and that's a 4-pounder, dude. And you know, this is my big fish area. That's a big fish, but it's been a grind. But maybe there's something too. This has grown up even in, I've been out here, well, I haven't been out here in like a few days, and it's even grown up in the few days that I haven't been out here. Adjusting and capitalizing on it. That's the sound it makes. Yeah, let's get you back. Come here. Come here. Come here. That's a chunky one. That's a Gunnersville bass right there. Watch how clear this water is, dude. She just kind of wallows off. Is that not the coolest thing? I adjusted a little. This is a big fish area right in here. It's very annoying to flip, and it's some of that submergent stuff that we've been talking about. It's a little bit topped off with some chop grass, but for the most part, that fish came out of just a little clump like right out there. So you got to kind of grind through because there's a lot of it. But what I did too, and this is something to keep in mind, when you're fishing expansive flats like this, I dropped waypoints on where I caught the fish, And I think there's something to that. I don't know if there's a ditch, I don't know if there's harder bottom, but it helps me to isolate kind of an area to focus on when you have such an expanse. If you're not getting bites, you got to expand and go look somewhere else. But I've gotten too many bites and caught too many big fish in this section not to slow down, and that's how you can kind of hedge your graph. Even though you're really not using it, you're using kind of your map, but you can hedge those waypoints to give you a little bit of confidence, stick with it, and focus on the juice. Bros and broettes, I gotta sit down. Pitching that 1.5 and that 3/4 all day will take a toll. It'll make y'all ripped. So fun day. Try punching and try that alternative punching. It's a way that you can kind of extend your water, I guess you could say. A fluorocarbon, a 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce. You got to play around, sometimes go up to a 1 ounce. It's a fun way to get big bites because they really don't see baits presented that way. And then you can push in and flip that beautiful matted stuff that's all right there, especially when the sun gets high. It's something to do maybe a little earlier, low light, or if there's some chop on the water. One thing I did forget to mention too, I didn't use them today, but a couple things to always, look at all the grass. A couple things to always have tied on along with your punching setup. Floating frog, a spook. I got a little swimming worm too to cast and reel. The reason that I have those things on, every once in a while you'll get back and say some of these mats and you'll see a fish blow up. A fish, you can pitch to it and you might catch it, but odds are that fish is looking up or it's eating something that's on top. So having that frog, or you'd be surprised, that spook will run pretty clean through even grassy water or over grass. And especially low light in the morning, if you're not getting bites when you roll up to your spot in the morning and you're punching, pick up that spook, and we've talked about it before in the videos, draw them up. You know, like they're in that stuff. Maybe they're up higher in the morning and they don't want that punching presentation. So you draw them up with the spook, draw them up with the top water. If you know the fish are there, you just got to present something a little bit different. And all three of those baits will go through the grass. They'll work around the grass. They'll fish pretty clean. But a fun day. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to go down there and hit that like button and make sure to hit that subscribe button. You guys have really grown this channel. It's a grassroots, no FBS channel. I try to go fishing, talk to you about fishing, try lures, just do stuff like that, learn, and then share what I learn. I don't know everything, but you guys probably do because you guys leave some awesome comments. But that's gonna be a wrap for today. Tight line, swimsuit girl, and Bog say hello, but we are out.